What does it take to get that password? The password that lets you navigate this life in peace on this island. Everyone wants it, even if it is subconsciously. So how many will sell their soul for it, to get the password? Then conversely, who are the few who will elevate their soul to get it? The evil is clearly around us. The evil that causes so much harm to people and animals and nature. We witness it, but we filter it out. We kid ourselves we are not part of it. We kid ourselves we cannot stop it. You call them bi-racers. We called them, when we were young, rent bi-racers, RBRs, ROI, because all of them were ex-rent boys, or if you like, apprentice homosexual prostitutes. Now there are two kinds of that group. The rent boys can be broken up into non-consensual and voluntary. The non-consensual were coerced or manipulated by family or other adults into this dark arena, whereas the voluntary choose to earn easy money, sometimes with the blessing of their family. The RBRs were all ex-voluntary rent boys. They all hung out with the local paedophile community. They were gophers for that community. In return for that service, they got flats and unquestioning welfare and priority for health treatment and council housing and leeway with the local police. They had got the password, but they had sold their soul for it. I was friends when I was young with a few of the coerced rent boys. They would allude mainly, but sometimes would be direct, in the evil they participated in and witnessed. They had lost faith in humanity. They were convinced the vast majority of, if not all men, were capable of this evil. These men from all walks of life, in these paedophile and evil rings, people knew what was going on, and yet tolerated the paedophiles. Why? Fear of them? Fear that the only modicum of control was to give them an outlet, therefore sacrifice many of their neighbours' children? No warnings to any children in school or youth clubs or from adults. Instead, the canard of protecting the young's innocence, when in reality you are protecting the evil. No intervention. The police and society and the law abandon the voiceless. Know that for many in society, in their religious view of the world, seeing the children by dint of birth or parentage bring it upon themselves. The paedophiles don't stop with child abuse when it comes to their evil. It goes beyond that. They are part of a broader network of evil. Back to the men who sold their soul for the password. The RBRs, the rent by racers, who drive their rectum extensions, not penis extensions. Style over substance. Knives instead of a powerful engine. Semen aerodynamic fins instead of a car with good handling. Attention seeking instead of stealth. Standing with the mob instead of standing on their own feet. The RBRs who do the dirty work along with many for the evil community. Let me give you an example. I have suffered it along with others on this island. Chemical attacks on my campsites. This is an extraordinary evil, yet it is happening. The police and the law and the politicians and civic society turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to it. Society doesn't want to know. Society runs as soon as you rear the truth. This shows us where we are. We look at Nazi Germany. We look to other empires and states and their abuses. We claim that kind of evil is of a different era and culture and time. But it is us. Now, we are savage. The RBRs in constant communication with each other, complete cowards. The definite representation of empty vessels making loud noises. Showing their true face with the individuals and groups that society permits to walk all over. Openly taunting and insulting the powerless in front of everyone. They know, and I know by this carry-on, what they show up, the inadequacy and supineness of society. The evil is in our faces every day, but we ignore it and go along with the propaganda and the agreed narrative. Look at how the RBRs engage in noise and environmental pollution without any consequences at any time and anywhere, right in front of the police and judiciary. This is the canary in the coal mine for the authorities that tell them it is safe to push the envelope of whatever underhand activity they are up to or plan. However, it is also a green light for the evil individuals and networks, including the nonce rings, to push an evil agenda too. Related to the RBRs is the vintage car community. If you want access to young boys, get a vintage car. I didn't say everyone in that community invested in an old car for that reason. There isn't a great lie when it comes to human sexuality. We live our lives on the lie. Bisexuality is far more dominant than we let on. At least that's potentially consensual. But a significant proportion of the population engage in paedophilia and then bestiality. If society plays a dishonest game about something so important, such as sexuality, doesn't it become easier to lie and fabricate about everything else? How to get the password without selling your soul? How to find a space to transcend to be that thoughtful, kind, intelligent being? With that password you find and now have the others who have found the keys too. They provide the space where you are not hurt and you do not hurt. You observe the evil around you and you are appalled, but you are now emboldened to record and you seek to stop it. Sadly, most people are cowards. To survive and operate in this life, they choose to follow a narrow path and not engage with questioning, and they follow a prescribed narrative that means filtering out a lot of what is going on. That is their password, which they renew every day. But the journey for me, to get the password the right way. Thank you and consider subscribing.